listening to Pop This, the podcast where three women talk about pop culture. Here are your hosts, Lisa Christiansen, Andrea Gin, and Andrea Warner.
So I'm like 90% there in terms of my COVID. I know I still don't sound perfect.
You look a lot better and sound better.
I look like the other day I was really Edward's makeup artist was committing crimes. And today I'm on a day when Edward's makeup artist is a little kinder to him. I would even dare to look at myself right now as we're recording and be like, oh, I have a little pink in my cheeks.
Oh, good. Well, at least you're not turning all light is bouncing off of your face or anything. That would be vampire.
Yeah, I don't no one is speaking through me. The diamonds are not dancing in my skin.
There's no sparkle.
I'm not translucent.
Well, it looks like
you got sparkle.
It looks like you're being lit with the warm white bulb, not the
as opposed to the dead white
the
bulb.
cold
Yeah,
white. Yeah.
And I will say, Lisa asked me earlier, do I feel a little bit vampire? And I was like, well, actually, I think I still have a mild fever, so I feel a tiny bit werewolf. So I mean, I didn't know I was ever Team Jacob, but my body today is a little bit Team Jacob just because of the slight fever
and the fact that you're topless.
Yeah. So just don't make you angry, is what you're saying.
Yeah, don't make me angry, and I hope you guys are totally fine just staring at my nips the entire recording.
Couldn't ask for a better way to record.
You've got some shorts on, so it's fine.
I always have shorts.
I thought you said jorts, and it was funnier.
I said jorts. Yeah.
Yeah, jorts.
You said jorts?
Yeah. That's what jean shorts are called.
Yeah, it's weird that he always has a pair of those around.
Yeah.
He has nothing else around, but he's always got a pair of jorts just waiting for him.
I saw somebody say with all this nostalgia, they're surprised the skort never came back. I'm not.
I feel like the skort could make a comeback. You know what? That was for a time period when people were really shamed about their underwear, and we don't live in that world anymore.
No.
And that's okay. That's fine. I think, we can do it with a little less shame. That's cool.
Plus people started wearing more rompers again.
That's true. Yeah.
The romper really came back. So I think
the romper
that
did come back
the
hard.
skort.
Yeah.
I had a couple skorts in my time.
Back in the day?
Yeah.
That sounds like the name of your memoir. I had a couple of skirts.
I mean, it would be fun to sort of if you have pictures, just to really lay out your fashion evolution, AG. I would totally love to see that.
Yeah. I mean, I was full on 90s, grunge, pajama bottom, t-shirts with, I don't know, puffy logos on them.
Did you ever do the classic sort of spaghetti strap floral over a white t-shirt?
Yes.
Guilty.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah, with a pair of Doc Martens. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I did a lot of half dresses over jeans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Been
Mm-hmm.
there, did that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there were a lot of black tights. A lot of black tights and chokers too. For some reason, I really went for the choker.
I feel like people have tried to make the choker come back in the last couple of years, but it's not really a great feel.
No, I don't like the feeling of it. Yeah.
I mean, it is one of those things where it literally is called what it feels like.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
But it sort of had it made you feel like you were really going out, though. I'm putting on the choker. I am going out on the town.
It used to be people would be like, I've put on my pearls, I'm going out for the evening. And then the 90s came and was like, all right, chokers.
Yeah.
Chokers, we're going out for the evening.
Did you ever wear the choker skort look then? Was that
No.
Okay, so you had a time and a place for the choker.
Yeah. I don't think I actually ever wore them because I really don't like the feeling of something pressing against my neck like that.
I know a lot of people who don't like that feeling. One friend of mine used to genuinely, she was kind of into past life stuff, and she truly, truly, absolutely believed that she had either been strangled in the past life by like a person or had been beheaded. And she could not handle
Wow.
anything
That is
touching
dark.
her neck at all.
That is very dark, but also makes a good segue.
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever thought about what it's like to twist the head off of someone, this movie continues to answer that question.
Absolutely. Wow. See,
Right.
I knew
So
you'd
that's-
figure it out.
I'm Andrea Warner,
I'm Lisa Christiansen.
I'm Andrea Gin.
and you're listening to Pop This, and we are continuing our journey through the Twilight Saga.
Lisa is watching it for the first time.
Yeah, well, I'm rather shocked by all of it. The whole thing.
Yeah, she's our newbie coming to the franchise in the year 2022.
Michael Sheen? I mean, I guess you all knew that he was in this. I had no idea.
I forgot that he was in it, but I shouldn't have, because I forgot that he's kind of my favorite part of this film for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I like Michael Sheen a lot.
Me too.
And what he's doing with his role is, I mean, I don't know how he was able to keep his eyes that open and that wild the entire filming.
I thought you were going to say, I don't know how he's able to keep his face that straight.
Well, you can see his eyes are like laughing maniacally behind it,
Yeah,
right? So like,
yeah.
so he's like the ultimate smize person, I think. Like Tyra would be watching him and being like, "This is incredible."
Yeah.
He is conveying everything he thinks in his eyes, and it's perfect for like that level of like unhinged that his character has. Because like, which Fanning is it? Is it Dakota or Elle?
Let me just.
Well, whatever Fanning it is, she's taking it more seriously, and I respect that for her.
Dakota.
Okay, Dakota. She's doing what she can. She's taking it more seriously. I respect that for her. Michael Sheen is, 20 years older than her, shows up and is like, I need this paycheck. This is
money.
gonna be
This is the big stuff.
dumbest thing I've ever done in my
Yeah.
life. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And I wonder if he came to that decision when he first saw the outfits, or if he first read the role about or read the script and saw that like Jacob's solution to a grievous head injury is to get naked, or if it was when he realized that like a ghostly apparition of a vampire was going to be a leading character throughout a teenage girl's heartbreak journey. Like, at what point did Michael Sheen decide, all right, I got to give this my all. You got to see as much whites of my eyes as humanly possible.
I think all of the above probably occurred to him at different parts of the process.
Well, but just so to back up a little tiny bit, just to clarify.
Oh, okay.
Lisa's the total newcomer to this franchise. Fresh eyes, seeing it for
Yep.
the first time.
Fresh eyes.
Fresh
Michael Sheen eyes. Sorry.
Andrea Warner is like the seasoned watcher who watched it when it first came out and wrote about it.
That's true. I watched it when it first came out, but I've never read the books.
Right.
That's much more than the other two of us.
No,
Yeah.
for sure. I understand that. I just want to be clear. If people think I've read the books, I'm bringing more knowledge than I am. I'm so sorry. That is not the case.
And then I am someone who came to watching it a bit late. Like, I think it was when the last installment came out. I watched all of them at once and came to appreciate it as like a cult kind of movie after the fact. Movie franchise after the fact. Those are where the three of us are coming from, just in case anyone is just tuning in for this episode specifically.
Yeah.
I would like to declare that I have not before this moment, unfortunately, reread my old review of this film. I like this iteration less than apparently I did in 2009. In 2009, I said that New Moon was better than Twilight.
Really?
Did you? Well,
Apparently,
Interesting.
I really thought that it did better to have, I said, new blood, new bodies, and the relative absence of Edward Cullen make this second installment a marked improvement over the first.
Wow.
oh, and now here it is in 2022.
Now I do prefer the first one.
Yeah, I thought the first one was like a piece of art in comparison to this particular part of the saga.
Do you mean on a specific front or just in general?
No, all of a sudden Twilight felt like some beautiful memory I had of, the first Star Wars, like when it was so pure and simple and stories were just being told. And then all of a sudden this thing comes along and I'm, oh my goodness, this is not good at all. I can't believe I'm sitting through this, but I did. And it was 2 hours again.
Yeah.
It was, and it was longer than 2 hours,
Yeah.
I gotta say.
In our hearts.
In our hearts. And it was 140 minutes. I just checked.
Jeez,
so that is 220.
Yeah.
I said that Pattinson is out of his acting league next to Stewart and Lautner.
Oh.
I
And Lautner?
I know. I was willing to give Lautner a lot of credit back then.
Oh, and let's ask the question, where is he now?
Well, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I do think he did what he could with Jacob. Like the kid went through a lot, and he's
you were mentioning some of that in the previous episode. Do you want to just review that for everybody?
Yeah. So like he was 16 when he filmed Twilight, and he was threatened to be recast for New Moon if he didn't put on 35 or 40 pounds of muscle, between 35 pounds of muscle to transform him from teen to hot werewolf. And he had very little time to do that. So he was 140 pounds when Twilight finished filming, and New Moon came out 1 year later. So he would have only had like a few months to put on 35 pounds of muscle. And It was mostly diet. He had to carry around, God, it's so gross. He had to carry around bags of beef patties, protein shakes, raw almonds, and sweet potatoes, and eat every 2 hours. And it was just nonstop pressure. And he had to do it or else he'd lose his job.
Wow. At 16?
Yeah.
Where, I always ask this question, but where were his parents?
I mean, I asked that of a lot of the people in the Twilight cast.
Yes.
So
maybe not Michael Sheen's, but yes, I understand.
Yeah, exactly. But, and I'm just reading this interview with him from 2009. He's a 17-year-old kid. He is being extremely sexualized in the lens of this film. And everyone, all they wanted to talk about was hot Jacob in the interviews and stuff. And him just trying to explain it's kind of sweet. And I think maybe this is sort of what I gave him a lot of credit for, is that he's talking about maintaining the interiority of his character and being best friends with Bella, and then having like his own personal demons as he becomes werewolf, And so there's a reason. So this is what his quote. There's a reason that he's not wearing clothes all the time. One, when he transforms, all his clothes get shredded. He can't help it. And when he goes
jorts.
And when he goes into the woods to get something to so he's not naked. It's just a pair of ripped jean shorts. And he's also hot. He's 108 degrees. So that's another reason. And the thing is, I love this character. I love this story. And putting on the weight and not wearing much clothing was required by the role. A year from now, if I love a story and love a character that requires me to lose 40 pounds, I'm ready to do it.
Aww.
This kid went through a lot. Anyway, so I think that's where I was at in 2009, was just like feeling really, I guess I also really hated Robert Pattinson at the time.
It does make you wonder where the shorts. So when they,
I don't know, like how many jorts does that pack go through?
yeah, like when they transform, do they remember where they leave their shorts?
Or do they get shredded?
Did they take them off? Or is that why they just run around and with no shirts on?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think it's kind of, like the Hulk. He is often shirtless and just wearing ripped
his
tiny
pants always
pants.
stay on. I wonder.
They're always tiny and
if
ripped.
they wore like jogging pants in a few sizes bigger, they would still be wearing them as a wolf and then wearing them still when they transform back.
Have they ever heard of just a wide leg spandex pant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something a jogger.
Elastic waistband.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah, a jogger. A capri jogger would solve all their problems.
Since that's what they're mostly doing, is running around everywhere.
I can't believe it. Okay, so we haven't read the background or the synopsis at all.
We're just obsessed with shorts today.
Lisa, would you like to read the background?
Sure. Okay. The Twilight Saga, New Moon, commonly referred to as New Moon, is a 2009 American romantic fantasy film based on Stephanie Meyer's 2006 novel New Moon. It is the second film in the Twilight Saga series and is the sequel to 2008's Twilight. Directed by Chris Weitz, the film stars Kristen Stewart, Robert Pattinson, and Taylor Lautner, reprising their roles as Bella Swan, Edward Cullen, and Jacob Black, respectively. The film was released November 2009 in most countries and set domestic box office records as the biggest midnight screening, grossing $26.3 million, which was superseded by its sequel, Eclipse.
And I'm happy to read the synopsis if we'd like. New Moon picks up where the first Twilight film left off, with Bella and Edward locked in a heated, vaguely, yet abstinent love affair. But after a freak accident at Bella's birthday party puts her life in danger, and Edward throws her across the room. I'm just ad-libbing a little. Edward leaves her in hopes of giving her a chance at a normal life, one that doesn't involve brooding over a vampire. Left with emptiness in her heart, Bella weeps for Edward for several months, eventually emerging slightly from her depression to forge a new friendship with the constantly shirtless Jacob Black, a now meaty friend who is going through a few odd changes himself. As Bella digs deeper into Jacob's life, she soon finds out that he isn't all that he seems either. And that was written by Neil Miller from Film School Rejects.
I would have loved just one scene, just 1 second, where Bella's like, finds out that he's a wolf or a werewolf. And she's like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yes.
You've absolutely got to be kidding me.
Just a moment of like, are you serious?
Are you serious? Is the fact that this can happen to somebody once is rare. The fact that it can happen to you twice.
The only men she's ever been attracted to in her short young life are both
possessive monsters.
quote unquote monsters.
Yeah, and possessive ones at that. And they're always trying to. I mean, honestly, I just think there would a part where she would have just gone, seriously, I'm going to Florida. Like, this is...
Yeah.
Like, it can't be as weird, even though Florida is weirder than Oregon.
Well, she'd probably fall in love with some sort of gator beast there.
She'd find them. She'd find them for sure. Like, obviously, this is the wildest place to go and live. That's for sure.
Well, and the thing that I couldn't really get over watching this is, well, I guess there's lots of things, but like she's just completely average, unremarkable person who's attracting all of this wild stuff.
It's her smell. Her blood is weird, and she's inscrutable to, like, the vampires can't possess her. So even though she looks sort of like just normal and average, it turns out there's, she possesses the real magic.
Yeah, so the vampires can't possess her, but she lets them possess her herself.
Yeah, vampires can't possess her or, like, influence her various things, or she can reject it or whatever. And she knows that something's up with them. And, I mean, I guess she does, at least, I don't know. At least she knows how to go to the like, bookstore. She managed to crack the cold bodies case in the first one and figure out Edward was a vampire. And then she managed to remember what Jacob had told her about the wolf people. And she's, I'm not going to say
sounds
she's
very average, high school, my so-called life. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like metaphors for, like, trauma, I guess, in the DNA and things, baggage people carry with them. But it's not elegant. It's not elegant metaphors.
I read on BuzzFeed that if you look closely, which I didn't go back and do, but in Bella's room in New Moon, all the photos of her and Edward together are just stills from the first movie.
Absolutely.
Oh, decorating her room.
Yeah. Did any of you, so one of the things that I find most troubling about this thing, and really, like, about what sort of, like, Bella's very, very poor self-esteem. And I guess that's sort of the most troubling part about her desire to be transformed and consumed and belong to the Cullen clan, is that, like, she is fixated on how she's, like, just an average human, and she's not interesting, and she's not this and this and this and this, and she's gonna get old, and isn't it gonna be terrible? But she goes so far as to, like, she prints a picture of her and Edward together, and then she folds herself out of it.
Yeah, I know.
To put into her photo
But,
album.
like, also, who took that picture?
Alice did. Alice grabbed the camera out of her bag and was taking that photo.
I thought vampires couldn't show up in pictures.
I can fact check that.
No, yeah. I remember that because she had a camera.
It was sad. It was, like, depressing.
Mm-hmm. Well, what was more depressing was putting those sticky pieces of tape on the corner of that album. Like, the girl has the aesthetics of a 5-year-old boy. I mean, really bad.
Well, I guess her mom sent her a photo album, but none of the sticky corners? That's weird.
Yeah. Well, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big barrier to actually using that album.
But I just couldn't understand, like, are we supposed to, like, I guess, like, Bella only sort of starts to believe in herself when she has opportunity, quote unquote, to conveniently save Edward. And then eventually when she realizes that, like, every vampire and every wolf in the world wants her blood, that's what makes her special. Like, it's not that she has anything interesting to say about the world, or she doesn't have any neat insights. She's just, like, a cool, unknowable blood bank in a skin suit, and that's it.
Yeah, that is literally it. And the fact that she cares so little about her father is, like, quite remarkable. Like, I'm flying off to Italy. Well, should you let your dad know? No. I don't have a passport. I don't need, like, did Alice fly her, like, literally on her back all the way to Italy? Am I wrong to, like, did she have a
piggybacked her all the way to Italy?
Or did she just use, like, vampire mind tricks? You need to see this girl's passport.
You don't see her anywhere. Yeah, great questions. I mean, and why do they bother telling us that Alice stole the car? Like,
yeah,
like who cares? Like, none of, like, if you're not going to tell us literally how they got to Italy,
yeah,
what does it matter how they got a car that they're driving in Italy?
Yeah, and why Italy? Why are these guys living in Italy?
So,
like, we're supposed to be in only hot place, like, in cool places. Are they different kind of vampires, or are they just, like, living in? Anyway,
but so I went to Forks, Washington once,
Just for the Twilight Saga
No,
tour?
I happened to be on a vacation on the Olympic Peninsula and realized that Forks was really close by. And the town is completely 100% like tourism industry is Twilight. And like all the stores, even in the like now, like many years after the movie's released, multiple stores dedicated to Twilight souvenirs. They have like a rating, a vampire like sign outside the cafe that says like, you know, like how they have a Smokey the Bear fire rating. Theirs is for vampires, like if it's like a high rated vampire day or not, high, moderate, or low.
What makes it high, moderate, or low?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But the best souvenir I got was I got this postcard that said "Greetings from Volterra," and I sent it to my friend Dean, who lives in Maine, who had watched the movies with me, and it's a picture of like them. It's a picture of Italy, basically, that says "Greetings from Volterra" across it. And when he first got it, he told me he was like, "Oh, Andrea and Joe went to Italy. Cool." And it took him like a few minutes to figure out like what Volterra was. But yeah, that's the kind of souvenir they have. Like you can buy a wedding album, a Bella and Edward wedding album, like with pictures in it. And stuff.
Wow, spoiler alert, AG. Lisa.
Sorry. Sorry about that.
Oh my god. Can I? Okay. Did you go on an actual tour?
No, but there are actual tours, and also they have like a tourism office, which like we went to, and realized that like they're like, you know, actually we're more like about the books, not the movies, because like there's a difference. And then I felt like really sheepish about it because I was like, I've never read any of the books, so yeah, but yeah, their big tourism things are Bigfoot and Twilight in Forks, Washington. And
I think it would be fascinating to be from that town.
yeah, it's a very small place. It's like a one main road town. There's like, you know, logging happens there, but yeah, otherwise it's pretty accurate to what's depicted. It's in the rainiest, sort of darkest part of the Olympic Peninsula.
Wow.
Nice, though. I'm looking at pictures of it right now. It looks quite nice.
But they do have a Forever Twilight in Forks festival. Like it's yearly, I think. And
so what happens there?
Everything. I was looking at the one-page condensed schedule that they have online, and they have like, you know, actors, you know, from the saga come as special guests. And it's like a multi-day event where they have like the town has breakfasts in the community center. There's like Twilight jogging groups. Like there's all kinds of, there's like a podcast is recorded. Like there's like 100 events. Like there's so much going on.
The Twilight jogging group. I hope that someone is chasing them just the entire time.
There's like a costume contest. Yeah, like there's a silent auction.
Well, you know what? This is happening this weekend. Not sure when this episode, we're pre-taping this episode. So in the weekend of October 7th to 10th, Hope is celebrating the 40th anniversary of First Blood.
I'm going for that. I'm going.
You're going?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, yeah. So they are celebrating. I did not know you were going to that.
Yeah. Who knew I was like a local to Vancouver TV and movie aficionado where I go for celebrations.
Well, your love of Sylvester Stallone knows no bounds. I know
exactly.
That, so.
I have to. I love going to Hope and like sort of picturing scenes from Rambo happening on the streets of Hope.
I have not watched it in years.
It's so
I will have
incongruous.
to watch it again before. But many opportunities to go and see it if you're in Hope. So that'll be on the 7th to the 10th. If anyone, this episode won't.
This comes out after.
Yeah.
But I do have a quick question, AG. So are you guys literally spending the weekend in Hope for?
Oh no.
Okay.
We just go out for a day or something.
So are you gonna dress Frankie as Rambo?
He does have a lot of bandanas, so and is usually shirtless, so
I guess carries around a large knife.
Yeah. Yeah. So
amazing.
Wow, this
Amazing.
is sidetracked a little bit, but all in the best way possible.
Yeah, no, that's great. Okay, so I want to just center us back in Forks again for a second, because
Yeah.
I feel like this is a bit of a weird big swing to like have a shift from Forks to Volterra or whatever it is, and the Volturi, and like we're told that like so Edward disappears through like much of the film. And then
But reappears as a ghost form that
as
talks
a ghost
to her.
version to like just constantly try and tell Bella to like not put herself in danger. But she's like, it's the only way I get to see you, so give me those thrills. And the biker that she gets on his bike, that happened outside my dad's old store.
In New West. I could tell it was New West. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was literally right outside my dad's old store.
Wow,
That
cool.
store it's not like there anymore because it burned down a few years ago, but it was nice to see it. It was nice, you know? And just like, so Bella decides like she gets this like, she becomes a thrill seeker because she's so brokenhearted about Edward leaving her. And she decides that she has to sort of risk her life again and again and again, and keeps pushing towards, you know, closer and closer to death, because Edward will miraculously show up if she's close enough to death, she thinks, I guess. I don't know. And luckily, Jacob is also sort of super interested in like preventing her death. And I just feel like these are some of the wrong messages to send to people watching this. Like, if you are in extremely depressed and having some possible suicidal ideation, but dependent upon the idea of one of the two beasts in your life coming to your rescue, this is just a bit unrealistic, I gotta say.
Really? You think it's really?
I know.
Oh.
It's weird, right?
I was really relating so much of this.
Her like anguished howling nightmares.
The anguish, the cliff diving, the repairing motorcycles and then trying to drive them and hitting a rock again. This gal is extremely accident prone.
She's so many head injuries.
Yeah. Yeah, and,
Like,
and
Bella
just walk them off too.
I do admire that. Like, I admire that you can walk off the head injuries, but I just think at some point she needs a CAT scan.
Yeah,
or an MRI
a
or
lot
whatever.
of this might be explained with that.
Honestly, truly, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Like, oh God. I mean, again, beautiful scenery when she does dive off the cliff.
Did we notice the interesting scenery of going from Squamish to Long Beach in one shot?
It is a bit of a journey,
locals.
isn't it?
That's for locals only. You can be able to tell
well,
that.
And also when they go to the movies, it's at the Old Ridge Theater.
Yeah.
made
I
me
noticed
feel-
that too.
That made me feel nostalgic.
Yeah.
I felt that too. Yeah.
Yeah, that was nice. There's a lot of nostalgia in seeing different parts of this, like, Lower Mainland for me in this film, actually.
Can I just say that there was some unintentional comedy, or maybe it was supposed to be comical, when she gets asked out on that date and nobody else shows up and they go, the three of them, to see that slasher movie?
Face punch.
Face punch?
That's just like that isn't even like you could have tried a little bit harder to come up with a better movie
and
name.
I couldn't imagine a worse date. It was so comical. That poor guy, he deserved some therapy after that date.
I like it. I love that, like, and then suddenly at the end, Jacob is just like getting super aggro for like seemingly no reason.
Yeah.
Well, he's turning
And,
into a
like,
werewolf, we find out.
Yeah, no, I know. But it's just like, I find it very funny that like this real like nobody kid who's like just like such a weasel face and so unimpressive on every level is like having to like constantly try and vie for Bella's affections when she's got like nothing but sort of like these slightly beautiful man beasts just wandering around her.
Yeah,
like,
and this guy's like, I might be able to get in on this. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
No, unless you're
buddy,
maybe
sorry.
a pirate, but I doubt it because you don't look interesting at all.
I mean, I do feel like Bella expresses, like, I think the chemistry that Bella and Jacob have while on like is a little bit brother sister, is also a tiny bit more believable than the chemistry that we're supposed to be buying between Edward and Bella.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it's all the near kisses. Because I think that's sort of gratifying.
The fact that Edward constantly looks like he just wants to eat her.
You're right.
Is what
you're
makes
right.
it
Or
a lot
throw
less
up on
romantic.
her.
Or throw up
on her. Yeah, that's right.
If he gets,
you're right.
Gets a tinge of her smell or whatever. It's just so rude sometimes.
You're right. And at least, like, you know what? I'm gonna stand by my old review that Taylor Lautner is better at performing desire than Robert Pattinson.
I think you're right on that part. I think you're right. But we also got to see a shirtless Robert Pattinson too. So this was, like, spread this out, right?
It's
meanwhile, all we wanted was a shirtless Michael Sheen. Was that so much to ask for?
Well, I mean, they do talk about this movie and how it's like this amazing example of a movie that's made to completely like pander toward its fan base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not a film that wants to sort of like go deep inside what makes it a compelling piece of work to its fan base. All it wants to do is to appease that fan base. And I think that there is a distinction between those two things. And I mean, the distinction is, I think clearly that you can't really infuse this text with more meaning than it has because it's just so terrible.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that Michael Sheen offered to be shirtless, and they were like, "That's okay. You keep your shirt on. We're gonna be fine.
Just
with
show
that.
us as much of the whites of your eyes as humanly possible.
We'll use that, but yeah, you keep that shirt on.
Yeah.
So obviously not for the Lisa audience, that's for sure. So."
But did you say in the last one that you watched this in a theater?
Oh, yeah. I watched all of these in a theater.
And so you said like people started screaming and clapping when his shirt came off the first time?
Yeah. Because she observes that he's been working out, but like you don't see what the fruits of that labor are until the shirtless scene. But it's actually, I realized the next film, like, so there was screaming and like, ooh,
okay.
But it's the next film where people really lose their biscuits over Jacob, because he continues to sort of like he continues to be filmed with what can only be described, I guess, as like a pedophile's lens, because he isn't underage. It's just so stark and just it's just extracting. It's not they're not really like they're not I don't think that there's much respect or affection for Taylor Lautner. It's just exploitative. And I understand that that's maybe one of the reasons why they thought about recasting him, because he was only 16 and then became 17 and he was younger than Kristen and Robert.
Yeah, I think Robert Pattinson was 23.
Yeah, and Kristen I think was like 19 or 20 or whatever. When she was originally cast.
In retrospect, it's like the way it turned out. It does, like, knowing that he is, 16 or 17. It does cast a very like uncomfortable light when you're watching this movie.
Well, and especially when you think about him from the first film, where he's got a baby face and he's just like,
and a bad wig.
Yeah, and he's got like, I don't know, he's just a sort of seems like a sweet kid with a awkward crush. And then we're supposed to sort of buy into this idea that Bella is falling for him and yet not falling for him, and he's declaring himself to her forever. And with what we know at this point, and I'm not going to go into it, but once we get to film 4 and 5 and we know where it goes.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
Gross. Just so gross. Just the idea. And this is why I also sort of get into this whole thing of like, like there's, like some of the most uncomfortable things in pop culture and in film and books and stuff like that is the idea that mothers and daughters are competition for each other, with like, whether it's real or imagined, or it's just the patriarchy sort of like folding that in on itself, that women always have to be in competition for like sort of the male gaze and like the affection of a husband, the affection of a father. Like, are you a daddy's girl? Like, are you, all this other stuff?
Yeah.
I feel like what the movie does in what it sets up between Jacob and Bella in the future is make absolutely real the ickiness of that. It brings it forth in a way that is absolutely wildly impossible to have imagined being any grosser than what Stephenie Meyer creates with Renesmee. And God, I can't wait to get there. I can't wait to get there, you guys. I'm so excited to talk about it. It's so gross and disgusting and funny and hilarious and yuck.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
We got a ways to go. How many more movies do we have for that?
I'm so sorry. There's 2, if not 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Buckle up.
Yeah.
Yeah, buckle up indeed.
I'm starting to it's starting to kind of go into my dreams. I know, and I've got more to watch.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So is Edward getting in there, or who's getting in there?
Just the sort of fraughtness of it. It's all very again, even though not as much was happening, it's still always anguish full tilt. There's never like a light moment. Never ever once. I think there was a bit of a montage with the motorcycle repair was going on in this movie that seemed like a little bit like da 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 da, a little bit lighthearted.
But like Bella doesn't get to do anything.
No, she gets
watches.
to like
hand him wrenches or whatever,
and then announcing to him, "I don't like music anymore." Honestly, it's not. I get that she's got some kind of magnetism over these guys, but what about her coming over to your house, expecting you to repair her motorcycles, and then she says, "I don't like things anymore. I've literally given up on life. Can you hang out?" And he's like, "Yeah, that sounds like." I mean, it's honestly toxic on all levels for everybody.
But like it's so perfect in the idea that like these tropes of like men just want to rescue women who are like damsels, and like women just need men to pay attention to them in order to have value, and like it's this is why I actually appreciate Anna Kendrick having even a few minutes in this film.
She certainly is a bright spot.
Hey,
yeah.
Jerk.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
what are you doing? Like, and just trying to have like a few normal moments with her friend and being like, this is ridiculous. Like, you need to, like, what are you doing?
What I really loved and appreciated was Anna Kendrick's outfit was 2009 Aritzia. I thought, did they?
For sure.
They just raid the store and just outfit everyone. It was so funny.
Yeah. But, I mean, I also, like, it's not that compelling. Like, thinking about, like, what makes a compelling scene in terms of tension. And so, like, the fight sequences get worse in this one, I think. Like, I like the wolf fighting sequences, I think, are not bad. But the wolf's chasing the vampire.
And the wolf CGI is not bad.
The wolf CGI is not bad. But, like, seeing Edward fight with the Volturi is, like, it's like that they tried to sort of, do, like, a bit of a Neo kind of, slow fight sequence kind of thing. Or, like, a House of Flying Daggers kind of fight sequence kind of thing. Like, it's just not very good or interesting. Like, they just ruin a lot of really fine, like, hundreds-year-old stonework. And then, like, watching Dakota Fanning, like, her gift to be like
you just
be
did
able
air
to,
quotes
like,
for people listening.
yeah. But just to be able to like basically like say pain and then like put someone in like massive physical agony, like that's actually not very compelling to watch if you don't care about Edward.
Mm-hmm.
Like I appreciate Robert Pattinson really did everything he could to like make his like neck vein strain or whatever. Like that's the best acting he does in the whole film, but like, you know, just who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of felt that way in every ghost scene that Robert Pattinson comes into like in every part he comes into the movie for me was like, who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah.
Why does she care?
Yeah. You broke up with her. Move on.
Yeah.
Come on, everyone.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, he promises her all these things. He like,
I'll never leave you no matter what.
And I think I said this before we started recording, so I'm going to say it now. But if I didn't, I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself. The fact that he swears to protect her, and then his version of protecting her in the disaster birthday hangout that they have is to literally hurl her across a room into a wall. All she had was a tiny paper cut. Instead of like getting his brother to sort of back off, he physically throws this girl across a room, and she gets even worse cuts and abrasions, and then everyone wants to eat her.
A head injury, possibly.
Yeah,
and a head injury, possibly.
Yeah.
His version of protection is not great. And then, like, he decides to, like, just dump her, break her heart, and, like, go off to wherever he has to go off to.
But
and, like,
still kind of stalker ghost style.
Yeah. I found it extremely, and I mean, I think this is one of the things that I, like, hated the most about the film when I first saw it, and I continue to hate to this day, is just, like, nothing about her devotion to Edward really makes that much sense.
Yeah.
Unless, oh my God.
Wow.
How have I just thought about this? You guys.
Let's hear it.
Okay. So I'm going to sneak ahead a little bit and just like, so, you know, like the imprinting that happens later on. And like, this is, did Edward imprint on Bella and like that just compels them to be like her to be like obsessed with him? Like, is that
because of the vampire thing, you mean?
Yeah. Like, is it just like, is that what has happened?
I think we're meant to believe it's larger than just an attraction, aren't we?
No, that's the imprinting.
But do vampires do that, or is it just the like werewolves?
I
thought mothers and children did. What are we talking about here?
Lisa, you haven't gotten to where they
you haven't gotten to the end part here, so I'm so sorry I can't. Okay, never mind.
Oh, okay.
I'll just say, like, imprinting is supposed to create basically a lifelong bond between two people that is both intimate and sexual. And again, it becomes very gross at the end of the film. But I'm just wondering if, like,
is that between Edward and Jacob, or
no, Edward and Bella?
Like,
okay. He basically claimed her, so he actually knows that even leaving her won't make a difference.
So why go through all this crap in this movie then?
Because it's just poor writing on Stephanie Meyer's part, I think.
Oh, Jesus, that seems like a waste of time.
She is really I think a waste of time.
That's okay.
Harsh.
Very strong feelings.
Yeah, I know, kidding.
Yeah, I blame her for a lot. So, well,
yes.
So, this film, New Moon, does it pop?
I don't know. Should we be just measuring this on like movies that do in the Twilight Saga? Do they pop? Because I don't feel like this is a regular movie. On a regular movie level, if I hadn't seen the other movie, no, of course this doesn't pop. This doesn't even make any sense then.
And I don't think it pops compared to the first one. I think the first one is better than this.
Yeah,
no, I don't. And I feel like my
either.
pops are gonna go down if that's possible.
Yeah, but however, like I said in our last episode, I feel like all these movies are not gonna pop, but the franchise kind of pops.
Yeah, I mean, I can't
redeem for me, but we'll see.
I can't necessarily agree with that until I've rewatched everything. But I will say the first one popped for me in a way that I had not expected.
Yeah,
and
I agree with that one. Yes,
this second one, has a lot to be desired, and
Yeah.
it did not go nearly as quickly or as swiftly. And the only thing that pleased me was I do think Taylor Lautner tried his best and worked his little butt off. And I do think Michael Sheen's eyeballs are a gift.
Hey, if Michael Sheen keeps showing up, I'm okay with that. So that's good.
He does for a little bit.
There we go. Yay. Yay.
But I just think that you need to, like, the franchise is there's such a lot of like cultural phenomenon around the franchise that it's like worth knowing and understanding about.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we're doing all 5 films. We've really committed ourselves to the Twilight Saga. I already had a text from one friend today who was like, "Oh my God, Twilight Saga, I'm in."
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
People are, going to be excited. Some people are going to be like, "What is wrong with you? Is this the 7-year itch part where you guys are about to turn 7 in November and you're just coasting on fumes?" But others are going to be like, "This is so exciting and I can't believe you're finally doing it."
I think it
This is
shows
great.
some freshness myself. So I'm very
I think it
pleased.
shows a lot of maturity because
Yeah, absolutely.
we may not have done this before because we would have thought, no, like, this is too much to ask. But like, since we went through the musicals, like the 100 musicals we did earlier this spring, I feel like I can now do anything.
Yeah, I am invincible as well.
I honestly want to give more of that to like the fact that we went through so many Gary Marshall films.
Yes, we have.
I feel like that was more than the musicals even. Like, but I guess to be fair, we've done 2 rounds of musicals. So,
Which
Yeah.
I was present for every single one of.
I know. And Lisa and I are the ones who missed a few on either side.
You both were like, we're going to take a bit of a vacation now. See you in 3 weeks.
Whoops.
But we do love to leave our episodes on something we recommend. So, Lisa, you want to go first?
Sure. I just finished reading the debut novel of Amy Wall called We Jane. I don't know if anyone has read that yet, but what a remarkable book. I was enraptured in this book. I don't want to say anything more because I want everyone to read it. Canadian novelist. As I said, this is her debut. It is an absolutely stunning, perfect work of art. I highly recommend it.
Wow.
Cool.
You made it sound amazing. I'm going to have to go in and buy that like tomorrow.
It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, it's just a fantastic. I just don't want to.
You
I didn't know
rarely hype
anything
a
about
book
it.
so much.
I know. I couldn't put it down. I really couldn't. And I don't want to say anything because I didn't know very much about it when it was given to me. So I just think everyone should read it.
Is it a new release?
It's from last year. It's from 2021. So
Okay.
yeah, it's from last year.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you. AG, what about you?
So a lot of people have been talking about the show, and it finally came to Canada, The Bear, and I started watching it.
Oh,
It's
I
on
love
Disney
it.
Plus. Yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot, and it's about kind of the stressful life in the restaurant industry, which like now I realize for sure that I could never hack it in any kind of restaurant role. Like it would just be too stressful and too dangerous with all the hot liquids and heavy things. But yeah, it'll make you think about kitchens. There's a really good character played by Io Edebury. She plays like a junior chef on the show and who's come in and she's like super organized and she's young and she's trying to, make the restaurant better. And she's a delight to watch on every episode.
Yeah, I agreed with you. I've seen the whole show. I've watched all of the episodes now. So I highly recommend it too.
Nice. That's awesome. I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard great things. I'm recommending a film that I saw at TIFF. It's by Park Chan-wook, who made Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Old Boy, Lady Vengeance, and The Handmaiden. He's an incredible filmmaker and writer. And this new movie is called Decision to Leave. And it's him creating a noir thriller. And
I read about this.
Oh my God, it's so good. I love it so
to
much.
see it.
Yeah, it's just like fantastic. I'll read like this tiny little thing here. Decision to Leave is an exceptional love story and a sublime noir thriller that invites the audience not to seek a culprit or a solution to the riddles proposed by the plot, but to get lost in a mesmerizing tangle of tension, slow-burning desire, and subtle emotions. The resulting experience is a personal and highly satisfying immersion in pure cinema.
Oh, well, you can't ask for a better review than that.
And is it worth seeing on the big screen?
Yeah, because it's beautiful. Like it is. We saw it in one of the like giant cinemas, like I think the Princess of Wales Cinema or whatever in Toronto. Just like a beautiful, beautiful theater. And Park Chan-wook was there and did a very funny introduction and then a wonderful Q&A after. And it was 1 a.m. by the time we all got out of there, but it was like so worth it. And the movie's a bit long, but it's again so worth it. It's just fantastic.
Amazing.
Now I have to see it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I highly recommend it. All right. Well, thank you everyone for hanging out with us and joining us on part 2 of our Twilight Saga journey. We're
just
back
getting started.
Getting started. Back next week with Eclipse.
Can't believe we're doing this, but yeah, here we are.
You can hang out with us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You could rate and review us 5 stars.
And always 5 stars. Yeah, if there was 6, we would ask for that too. And thanks to Andrea Gin, our co-host and producer, for putting together this whole episode and keeping us on the straight and narrow. I noticed that I would have talked about Michael Sheen all night, but no, thanks for...
that just ends up on the cutting room floor.
Yes, I know.
I have hours of you talking about Michael Sheen.
And they're all gone.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.